What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Gameball. Today we have Chase Brice, quarterback of App State, joining us. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming on. And before we get into football and talking about App State, Clemson, Duke, and whatsoever, I want to talk about the NIL. So that went into effect, and I was just wondering if you've had any experiences with the NIL bill, whether it's with a business or any of your teammates, and what are your thoughts on the whole thing?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think a lot of guys are taking advantage of it in a good way. And I've had a couple encounters with some places about, helping out and supporting. And did a thing with Canes. I'm in works with Calypso, like a lemonade drink that's in all the gas stations. Couple local spots in Boone that I'm working on, something to get from me and the linemen weekly for a dinner. But I've seen a lot of good things come out of it for guys in college football and college sports.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's great to see. I bet your offensive linemen are probably thrilled about the free meals and stuff.
Yeah, they like it.
they'll make sure you don't end up on your back in the middle of a game.
Right.
You're all right. But no, that's really cool to see. I had the chance to talk to Cam Peoples and some other guys, and they all basically said the same thing. So it's definitely neat to see what's happening out there. But going back to just the recruitment process, obviously you've been recruited 3 times now. But just going back to coming out of high school, right out of Grayson, that's a powerhouse for football. Everybody knows that. And you had offers from Miami, Florida, Louisville, Michigan State, and obviously Clemson was where you ended up going. But what led to that decision? Because was it just being close to home, or was it because I believe your uncle was a coach there, safeties coach or something? I don't know what he was at the time. But what led to that decision to come into Clemson?
Yeah, ultimately it was just a feeling. I felt at home there. It's where I wanted to be. I took football out of the equation and, asked myself if I would enjoy going to college here, just being a student. And I would have loved it. And I did love it, enjoyed it. My uncle followed me. I was committed to Clemson my junior year. Mm-hmm. And then he got the job going into my senior year. We're getting ready for football. And then he got an analyst job. And now he's worked his way up to safeties. And so definitely having family there was awesome. And getting to hang with him and my little cousins not so little anymore, but it was a great experience. And ultimately it was that family feel, kind of like how it is right here at App.
Yeah, definitely. I was gonna mention that, did the family atmosphere, just like not from your uncle obviously, but just as a team, because you hear it all the time in Clemson, obviously in Boone, there's not necessarily a ton around the area, so it is like one big family. So did you definitely feel that at Clemson and with App State too?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely felt a correlation. I knew the recruiting process, been around it a few times, heard a lot of pitches. And, when App called, I was really excited just for a new start. Things didn't work out at Duke, and, that's part of it, is what it is. And I've moved on from it. But once I got into the locker room here, got to talking to the coaches and hung out with the guys, really meshed in. I felt a real family-like feel and guys that I click with better and just call family.
Yeah, definitely. I like I mentioned, I spoke to Demetrius Taylor of App State, I want to say yesterday, and he was telling me about that family atmosphere. He's saying one time he went to go to the cafeteria to get lunch one time, and one of the lunch ladies was like cutting out newspapers and stuff that had like his stat lines and the box scores and give it to him. So I thought that was pretty neat to hear how it is
right.
all together. But going back to Clemson, everyone talks about running down the hill and how electrifying Death Valley is. So what was like the first time just playing in Clemson, just running down that hill?
Let's see, it was my freshman year, red-shirted, so, just dressed out, just enjoying it. Pretty sure we played Kent State, mm-hmm. if I'm not mistaken. It was a noon game. It was hot, and but we had practiced running down the hill prior in our practice mock game a couple weeks before, and then like when you go on visits, they send you down the hill. But you really got to, be careful. You really got to master kind of your hops and like your gallop and make sure you don't definitely twist an ankle or fall when it goes off the goes off because there's 2 drains at the bottom near the goalpost. So you gotta know which side to go on.
That'd be a disaster if you get your cleats stuck in there. You like nail the field goal pole or something. That place it's a madhouse though on the hill. It's crazy over there. It's insane.
It's fun, man.
It is. But you definitely got to be careful. I'm sure. I'm surprised there aren't more injuries happening on that hill.
I know. I thought the same thing.
But when you showed up to Clemson, obviously Davis Sweeney is the coach there, and he's been your head coach for what I want to say he's been there for 3 years when you were there all 3.
Yeah.
And but what is he like as a coach, on and off the field? Because everyone talks about how he is a good coach and all that, but off the field is a big family guy and just kind of brings everyone together. So what is he like as a person and as a coach for you?
Yeah. Super easygoing. He expects a lot out of you. You're at Clemson and you represent Clemson, and so he expects you to act accordingly, act professional, and go about things the right way. And football coach to guy off the field is, he's the same. He's going to coach you hard. He's going to expect a lot out of you, and he's going to push you. But off the field, like he's a dad, and he's got 2 kids on the team and who I'm really close with. And he just, you see him at football games, you see him at the high school games, the baseball games, and, real easy to talk to, real down to earth guy, and somebody that wants the best for you. So I really appreciated that about him is he really pushes, he wants you to strive to be the best version of you. And if you put your head down and you work and you soak in kind of his advice, you'll get there. So definitely appreciated him.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. He sounds more than just a coach. He wants you guys a person too, which is something you don't always see all the time. So it's definitely probably a breath of fresh air for you to see that. But someone I host a show with when I do this, we were talking about Dabo, and I go to Clemson, so of course I'm all about Coach Sweeney and how great of a coach he is. But he was saying that he believes that Coach Sweeney is more of a recruiter than he is an X's and O's guy. So do you think that's like I believe that's like a false narrative, but do you think he gets more flack than what he deserves for being not necessarily the best coach or something like that?
He he knows what he's talking about for sure. I've been on the headset many times for 3 years. So he gets on the headset and he tells Coach Elliott what he wants, what we're going to do. And not all the time, just every now and then, but he definitely knows what he's talking about. But also is a great recruiter and knows the type of guys he wants in his program. And I think that is always going to be first. Because without that, he can't do X's and O's. He wants to make sure he's got the right guys on the field, right guys in the program to then go about the X's and O's. So he's good at both. He's good at both.
I can imagine. Speaking of the right guys, he's probably lucky that he had you during 2018. So I think everyone knows about the game where you came in against Syracuse and how crazy that was. But there was a lot of high expectations heading into that year after going to the semis the year prior, and then obviously we exited. And so then Trevor Lawrence and Kelly Bryant had their battle, and Kelly Bryant ended up leaving. T-Lock took over, got a concussion, right before halftime during that Syracuse Clemson game. And we were all eyes were on you. Chase for Heisman hype was coming through for sure. But what was that game like? What was that experience? Because you made that 4th down pass to T. Higgins, that one incredible catch by Hunter Renfrow when he somehow became like an acrobat and caught it, and then you had that great rush late in the game too. So what was that entire game like for you?
Yeah, that game was pretty nuts. It was a loud noon game. A lot of hype around that game. They beat us the year before when Kelly got knocked out, and it was me and Trev. And that was my first week of really getting a lot of live reps, a lot of game plan reps. Before I was just signaling, and Kelly and Trevor were taking a lot of the first and second team reps and getting ready. and I was kind of behind the scenes, so I had to get ready really quickly. We didn't know Kelly was gonna do what he did until I think a Tuesday. He came out and told coach. So that whole week was pretty stressful. He's a dear friend of mine and love him to death. And but you had to kind of get over it, and we went into that game really confident. I was confident about the plan. I had studied Syracuse intently, and we knew we were the more athletic, better team.
Mm-hmm.
But they had a really good team that year. Had a really good season. Dungy was lights out, and I mean they had a confidence and a swag, and so we knew going into the game it wasn't going to be easy at all. Especially when Trevor got hurt, was definitely not going to be easy. I mean that was my first real life playing time. I got a whole half of football under my before that. I mean I had like 8 passes I think I heard total, and like in Georgia Southern and Furman some games that we were blowing them out, and I had to grow up really quick. They had to keep it simple and stick to what we do and let our playmakers go make plays. And like you said, Renfro making plays, Travis running the ball, Tavian, Adam Choice, like, man, everybody running it. And then, I had to make one pass, really the whole game. I mean, and so I think my instincts kind of kicked in near that fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. Just going back to the fundamentals and doing what I know, sticking to the game plan and just going through my reads, and made a good throw and then had a good run after that, and stuck it in for the score to win it. And that was a really special feeling. I didn't even know what happened. I was just like, man, what is going on? Like,
yeah,
the place is going absolutely nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it definitely is crazy. I mean, the thing that you right at halftime this game, like you head in, you guys were down 16-7 or something like that, 13-7, and you're trailing, and that must have just been crazy. Be like, well, crap, I have to go lead this national championship team to a win. That must have been insane. But unfortunately, so I don't know. I was at that game, right? So it was a crazy stadium. But so I go to Clemson. I was a freshman last year, so I'm now a Clemson fan. So hindsight 2020. Thank you for winning that game. But at the time, I didn't really have any ties to Clemson, right? A lot of my family on mom's side went to Syracuse, so I was pulling for Syracuse, and I I was down the dumps. I was so upset when we lost. But like I said, hindsight 2020. Thank you for pulling that off for us, so we could go win that national championship. But it was a crazy game. ETN had 200 and something yards rushing. It was crazy.
Yeah, man, he went off.
Yeah, that was wild. It was a sight to see. And then that last sack on Dungy was just really put the icing on the cake with Xavier Thomas got it, I want to say.
It was, yeah.
That was wild. But so I think I don't even know. It was I don't know if this was a joke or seriously, but Chase for Heisman. What was that whole hype like for you? Because it was I know it was a running joke and stuff in Clemson, but come on, I bet everybody was saying that to you. What was it like for you to have that?
Yeah, it was funny. It was funny to hear all that. Just some good old boys in Clemson just coming up with a little hashtag, and I was friends with a lot of guys, a lot of frat guys, out of football, outside of sports. And so when I had some free time, we'd go just chill. And I can't remember who it really when it started, who started it, but I like to laugh at it in a good way. It was cool. It was a point in time where it didn't feel real as far as the game that just happened. And then to finish out the season just on a steamroll was awesome. So, kudos to them for making that happen.
Yeah, definitely. But, before we move on, just kind of transferring to Duke and App State, what was it just like to be at a national championship and winning it and just getting that ring? Because everyone plays a huge part in it. So, what was it like for you?
Yeah, it was special. It was a lot of hard work put into that in the off season, in the summer and winter, and to feel that at the end of a game, knowing you gave it your all and you were ready when your number was called. Like, I mean, that was enough for me. I didn't need to play every game. I didn't need to start. I knew I had a role in that season, and I knew I had a role moving forward, more of a leadership role, moving into, being more trustworthy as far as the offense and when I get to go in. So everything after that, it just built off of that. It was awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And so then you obviously decided to transfer to Duke, and during the transfer portal, I have to say that's probably one of the most like wild things because like I feel like spots just fill up so fast. Teams are interested, teams aren't interested, and it's like a complete mess. But what led to you deciding to wanting to go to Duke, and just what was that whole decision process like?
Yeah. Entering the portal, it was tough because we played in the national championship, and I didn't want to give anything away or be a distraction towards the team because, I mean, we wanted to win. I wanted to make sure guys were focused, and by me entering the portal before that, it just would have been immature and not the right way. And so I had to wait a little bit longer than some other guys did that decided to leave at other teams. And so spots were filling up, and but I knew that I'd end up in the right place ultimately. And I thought it was Duke. I really did. Had a great visit, great talks with Coach Cud, and meshed with the guys on the team. I really did love the guys that I played with. Great dudes. Still talk to them today. Still really close with them. But it was a mix of the COVID and just not being able to be around my teammates enough. Not enough practice. Not enough like of what you need to be successful. And we were the last team to get back in July, start working, and it. I don't regret going there at all. It's part of the story. It's part of the journey, and I'm thankful for it. Met a lot of great people there, and had fun playing. The whole goal was to play, and didn't play as well as I wanted to. However, I have a chance to change that, but forever grateful for that experience.
Yeah, definitely. Did some of your teammates from Grayson actually play at Duke too? Like, did that help factor into it?
Will Taylor, John Taylor, they're twins, and then one of my good buddies, Jalen Alexander. We all played together at Grayson, and having that connection there made it easier for me. But like I said, I only got to visit once, and only got to visit Duke, only one school because of the COVID and not being able to get on campus. So, I felt comfortable with that decision, and it is what it is now.
Yeah, definitely. And like you mentioned, maybe it didn't pan out the way you wanted to, but you still had a decent year through for 2,200 yards, 10 scores, and you were still be able to coach by one of the, coined to be one of the best quarterback gurus in Coach Cutcliffe. So what knowledge did you learn from him and just at Duke to help you translate to become an even better player?
Yeah. He does it a little bit differently. I know he was busy with what was going on outside of football, making sure we were even going to be able to play. And so I don't really feel like I got the full experience of Coach Cutcliffe. And I feel like he'd admit to that. And really the whole staff. I mean, a lot of people were just under a lot of pressure of, are we going to have a season? Are we not? Changing up the offense. What are we going to do this week? And there's just a lot of questions, but he's a great man, and really taught me a lot of defense and getting through progressions, and kind of like an old school approach. I'd had a more of a younger approach at Clemson, RPOs and different concepts, and then going to Duke, really getting a more pro style look at it. Quarterback is all in control, learning different reads up front for the O-line and protections. And I took a lot from that, and definitely film study. So, he taught me a lot about film study, which, I carry on here at App.
Yeah, definitely. With that being said, you're moving on to your third head coach of your college career with Coach Clark, and a lot of people say, maybe having, I guess, being under so many different systems could like affect you. But do you think that having now being your third coach, having three different coaches and being for three different schools has helped you grow as a player in a way because you see different things now and different plays and film and stuff?
Yeah, I've definitely grown as a player, grown as a man, and grown as a quarterback. Um, Third system, this one is a lot more like what I used to do at Clemson, so I connected with it a lot better. I'm more comfortable here as far as knowing where to go with the ball, being in the pocket, making those confident throws and decision making skills. And so having a spring really helped out with me and getting on the same page with my receivers and Coach Ponce, who's the quarterback coach here now. And Coach Clark has made it an easy transition. He's a player's coach, and he's really supported me despite, my past statistics at Duke. And people will talk and say a lot, but, that was my first year starting. I'd been in college for 3 years and I was a backup. It's not always perfect. It doesn't always go as you planned it. And I had some high expectations for myself that I didn't achieve. And I know a lot of people had high expectations for me to come in and kind of change the program around. But this year, just back to myself, confident, a little bit of swag to me. Getting around the guys, just being around my teammates a lot. That goes a long way. Yeah. And so, Coach Clark has made that easier, and honestly, just a great man, which I'm thankful to be around.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great to hear. You got your swag bad, swaggiest guy in Boone apparently. But you mentioned that App State has that family atmosphere. Was that like a big thing that you could? It seems like there's a lot of comparisons to Clemson with App State in a way where that's the playbook family atmosphere. So did that really is that like helping you? Like I know there's COVID's gone, so you have the spring season and all that. But is just having that like from having to be a familiar sight to see, is that helping you just be able to grow and transition a lot easier?
Yeah, I mean, they love their football up here, and they've been very successful. And so last year they went 9-3. That's considered a bad year. And some other programs, that's a great year. And so that expectation, that's all I needed to hear, to be honest with you. They want to win. We work hard, and we leave it all out there. I mean, I think we scrimmaged like 12 out of the 15 or whatever practices that we had in spring. I mean, it was ungodly amount of scrimmages, and it's just that competition that guys want to go compete and be great. And so guys out here doing extra work and getting with each other on the weekends and after practice stuff, it correlates to your success for sure, because I've seen it firsthand at Clemson, and they go on and win a natty. And I know for us this year at App, we have a great opportunity to win the conference and compete on that national stage.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it sounds like they love you there because I asked Cam what he thought of you, and he said you're a great leader. And I've never heard somebody being so impressed about a quarterback coming in, bro. He was just like saying that you were zipping the ball in there, you're picking up the playbook well, leading the team, making great decisions. He threw in a couple of gollies in there. He was feeling it. He was just saying, "Golly, man, this guy is insane, bro." He said like 8 times over, and I was just like sitting there. I was like, "All right, that's good to know." I asked Demetrius Taylor what he thought about you. I know he's on the defensive side, but he's like, dude, this guy is a baller. He can play. Like, so it seems like they love you there, and it seems like you'll make a great transition. But winning the Sun Belt, like you mentioned, App State, huge expectations right now because 9-3. You're right. That's a bad season right there. They won prior to last year. They won the Sun Belt 4 years in a row. So you gotta come in. You have a lot of expectations, obviously for yourself, but the fans, people want to win. So how can you help lead them past, the Coastal Carolinas and the Louisiana Lafayette of the world, who have been obviously on the come up and been really, really good teams to play against in the Sun Belt?
I think it's just sticking to our identity. And that's just what my first year, but those 5th year and 6th year guys that have been here, they know what it is. And I've kind of followed them in that footstep. And then taking over a leadership role, finding ways to do that, where I'm not too pushy because I am the new guy, but at the same time, the quarterback. And
Yeah, you're a vet too. Played a couple
exactly,
years.
I'm a vet. Been in college for a long time, man. I'm old,
You're like
and
an
so
8-year senior in a couple of years.
absolutely, I feel like Renfro almost. And but definitely just finding those little niches and ways that I can make the guys better. I think it's assumed that we're going into the game knowing we're going to win. There's not a thought of, man, I hope to win, or if this happens, we're going to win. It's just taking over the game. And that's something that, I need to do better at, is just being me and taking what the defense gives me and making good decisions and getting the ball to the playmakers like Coach Clark has been telling me to do. So I'm not going to do anything out of the ordinary, out of my element, just stick to the game plan, and that should take care of itself.
Yeah, definitely. And, even when you're at Clemson, obviously during that Syracuse game, you have E-team to help carry the load. So I definitely think that, with Cam Peoples, he's a great running back. He had about 1,100 yards last year, 300 in one game, which is beyond me. But, that's going to be a great little dynamic that you guys have, because you're a vet, you're a great quarterback, you have a good running back. So I do think that you guys have a great chance, and you have 10 of your 11 stars returning on defense. So it could be good. But the big game everyone's talking about, App State always has that big game where they play, either Penn State or UNC. This year it's gonna be Miami, right? You have to go to Miami Hard Rock week 2. How do you think you guys will be able to beat, the De'Aaron King led Hurricanes?
I mean, I think we'll get to that after the first game. To be honest with you, I don't really have any comments on that. But after playing Miami last year, I mean, they're super fast, great team, insane amount of athletes on the defense and offensive side. And I've got to know De'Aaron as of recently, and great dude, super competitor and just a grinder. Obviously, coming off a knee injury, and I think I heard today he's pretty much back, he said. And so that's all you kind of need to know about that mindset of that Miami team, and you better come ready to play. And so, right now we're really focused on that Thursday night game opening up in Charlotte, not looking past a dangerous ECU team.
Yeah.
And once, eventually we are going to head to Hard Rock, and it'll be exciting to play in that stadium and that fan base, and get a piece of Miami, and just play our best, show up and do our thing.
Yeah. So, obviously the team expectations are to win the Sun Belt, maybe have an undefeated season. They almost had one a couple years ago. They went 11-1. But what are your personal expectations? Like, do you have a passing yard number you want to reach, or a certain amount of touchdowns? Like, what are your personal expectations?
Right now, after talking with Coach Ponce and Stone, which is our GA, really focusing on a high completion percentage, getting the ball out quick, get it into my guys' hands, and let them run. I'm not too concerned about how many touchdowns I throw, how many yards I throw, because if I can handle those two things, being a good decision maker and giving our guys a chance, then my numbers will be great. So that's really what I've focused on: ball placement and accuracy, and also making good decisions. So those three things, and the rest will work itself out as far as individual numbers or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. So, I heard that at App State, apparently there's this film room where you can bring up any player's film and just watch it. But do you have like a certain quarterback you try to model your game after and just like watch a lot of their film?
Yeah, actually, I liked, I grew up a Georgia fan. So Stafford is a guy that I love to watch. I'm a fan of all kinds of quarterbacks, to be honest, not always the great ones. I take a lot out of Goff, Jared Goff. We do a lot of what they do, or now, when he was in LA, but now he's at Detroit. But the way he plays, I like to look at the confidence of some quarterbacks, and that inspires me. So, you got the Matt Ryan, you got Stafford, even guys that have taken it on the chin, Andy Dalton, that just won't go away. They're competitors, and so I like watching that.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Stafford being your guy. How do you think he'll be on the Rams? Like, do you like watch football as like as a film guy, or do you watch it as a fan? Like, do you have a certain team you follow or player?
I root for Atlanta because I'm from there, and I want them to do well. I like. I've always liked. I'm trying to think. I love watching the Saints play when they had Drew Brees and Alvin Kamara. Honestly, I watch it as a fan and a player, whoever's on. I don't really have any favorites, but I'll watch it and, try to figure out what they're thinking and what they're trying to do.
Yeah, weird. Well, I'm a Giants fan, so hopefully this cut clip system isn't just like isn't a joke. I need to see Daniel Jones do something for me.
That's right. He's a good one. He will. He's a good one.
I hope so. But my last couple of questions, one have to do with this college football as a whole, and I think there's been a lot of talk about this 12-team playoff, right? And so, a lot of coaches, players, they have their own ideas. Some, I feel like a lot of the elite teams are thinking just keep it a 4. Some of the other teams, I think the group of 5 needs a chance to get into one, like get into the playoffs. But it's hard right now with the 4-team playoff system. So, do you think it should expand, and do you think 12 teams would be a fair number?
Personally, after being at the ACC twice, seeing it, now getting my first little taste at Sunbelt, I don't really have a great answer for that. You definitely want to have some more teams with a better opportunity, but at the same time, the conferences and who the teams are playing against is different, and it's not all equivalent. And I'm kind of I've heard Coach Mac Brown and Coach Sweeney talk about it, and ultimately it will work itself out. Whether it's 4, whether it's 12, if it gets to 12, people are going to say, well, they deserve to be in it. They're a 2-loss team.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of things going on to where I'm used to, you got to go undefeated to basically get in. You got to win your conference championship. But there's pros and cons. So, whatever they decide to do, I mean, college football is going to do whatever it takes to try to get into or these teams are going to try to get into the playoff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think there's room for discussion. I don't know. It needs to be more inclusive. You obviously see Cincinnati like last year. Like surely they'd be better than Notre Dame. Like Notre Dame got their brakes beat off of them. But I don't know. I think 12 may be too many. I just want to see a group of 5 team in there. There's been so many chances, like a UCF. App State is a great program. And then UC. So I don't know. I think it should be talked about more. But 12 seems like a lot. I agree. 12 seems like a lot, and you got to think too. All these programs are going to lose like a lot of their games, right? Because if it's going to be 12 teams, and certain programs that don't make it just still might lose like 3 games and stuff. So it's interesting to see what happens. But my last question before you go is just about the NFL right now. Again, who do you think's who's your pick to win the Super Bowl?
Man, if I had to go with it right now, I don't even know, dude. Rattle off some teams for me. I try to keep up, but
I mean, I personally think it's gonna be the Chiefs. They like fix their entire offensive line. They have Patty Mahomes, and then there's the Bucks with Tom Brady, the Rams with your boy Stafford.
Yeah, I would really like the Rams to get in there. I hate to hear about Cam Akers and that.
That was terrible. He had,
I think it's his Achilles.
Yeah.
Achilles or ACL. I can't remember, but
he's out for the year though.
He's a difference maker.
You got not the Giants.
I'd like you got to get the, honestly, shoot.
My boy Trev, man, I'd love to see, the Jags make some noise, man. That'd be awesome.
Are you a
So,
Jags fan now? Are you like?
you gotta support where the guys are. So, I'm gonna watch them. Miami, my boys out at in Detroit. Couple out of the Raiders. I think honestly the Raiders are a sleeper team. If I gotta be real,
I like Derek Carr, but John Gruden, man, he's something else. I have no
I
idea.
like Derek.
I have
Yeah,
no
I
words for
do.
John Gruden. But no, I
I
think
do
Clemson.
like him.
Yeah, Clemson has like I think a player on like 23 of the 32 teams. So I guess you're a fan of 23 teams. So,
Hey, I'm a fan of a lot of them.
I mean, you can't forget about T Higgins on Cincinnati.
That's
When you
right.
got,
Hey, could be a dark horse right there. Could
all
be a
that.
dark horse.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you coming on, man. And I'll look forward to doing this again sometime.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you.
Definitely.